Well, we want to go beyond combat, I think is what we said.
What's beyond combat? More combat.
Bed, Bath, and Beyond combat. I
that-
would probably shop there
That
more.
place would not have gone out of business if it was like that.
I'd like some soap. I'll be over in the pillow fight section. Awesome.
Get creative. Think outside of the box. Think outside of the combat box.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, like you said, explore. The DM's going to use exploration. Players use exploration.
The Valdi one was an attempt at baiting the PC's morality.
Right.
To see how, because it was early in the campaign, to see how the PCs had differing moralities and differing kind of true north in their own internal compasses.
Kampai, no.
Don't leave me off. No, so there's... Oh.
Look at me, Kampai.
Oh, yes. Oh, you sound excited.
No. I was just... Have you ever been in a fight with your girlfriend or your wife? And
Yes.
no matter what you say, it seems like things escalate and things aren't working out,
Oh, yes.
right? And you're like, no, we can't deal with this physically. And I was like trying to figure out a way to get out of it. And,
Oh, not yet, but that's apparently the best.
yeah, here we are. So thank you guys for the company.
Oh, you're avoiding a fight by being here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So I win, right? Maybe for now.
I think so. Carry the two.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Who
We'll
wins
try to make this
in the end. Yes.
this one last.
Right. Oh.
All right. Today's note says, attention, read out loud exactly what is written on this note or be destroyed and replaced.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Caffeine and Cantrips, the show where we talk about D&D or else. Have you ever wondered what happens when you give Gandhi nukes? Sid Meier knows, and so do the rest of you nodding people out there. I know what he does. For everyone else, if you don't know, have you ever had an itch you can't reach? Well, that's what we're here to talk about today. Itches that you can't reach, apparently. Let's stick to the point. It's not all about coat hangers or trees. Sometimes the best way to deal with that frustration is to get a little creative and find the right tool to get the job done. So, come along with us today and find out what it means to go beyond the combat and dig into the alternative solutions to a street fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
We might even figure out a way of dealing with Chauncey.
Yeah.
I doubt it, though. All right.
Howdy.
Welcome back to Caffeine and Cantrips.
That's us.
Yeah. It sounds like this week we're going to be talking about conflict in tabletop RPGs and how to deal with them in alternative ways. Not necessarily by physically fighting. Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got a bone to pick with Chauncey already because apparently we don't even have budgets for numbers anymore.
Oh, we don't. I didn't even notice.
We didn't even introduce ourselves. We didn't.
He doesn't even
He's
care
just,
about us.
Cutting out the words, man. Like,
Oh, so for the new listeners, they don't know who we are.
yeah, no.
Okay, for everyone new out there, my name's Byron.
And I'm Sean. And we're so happy to have you here.
And yeah, we're the host of Caffeine Cantrips.
Yes. And we are so happy that you're here today with us.
Yeah.
But take it away, Byron. You're so awesome at everything. You should go first.
Except life. All right. So
yeah, it's true.
So we're going to talk about alternative ways of dealing with conflict. That's not combat. So we're going beyond combat.
Beyond
today, right?
combat. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, why should we even care?
Well, because ultimately, this is a bit of a joke, right? In the D&D community.
Oh, like murder hobos and...
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. You skipping to my punchline. Yeah. No, murder hobos being...
Byron does that.
In real metaphorical
Byron
life. That's how Byron rolls. It's you, apparently. No, but there is the joke of like, oh, we're not murder hobos. Or yeah, that one campaign where we were murder hobos.
Right. And people describe players as committing war crimes all the time, like as if it's a given.
Classic wizard. It's just it is that. You know, it's that way of going about the story or building the narrative or doing whatever it is, but it's not actually, because all you're doing is rolling dice and killing things. Right? It's hearkening back to chainmail and the kind of precursors of D&D where there was no role play element. That pillar was not there.
Mm-hmm.
Neither was exploration. It was just combat.
Yeah.
Right? And so it was very shallow in this way. It was just dice. It was just damage. It was just death.
Right.
The 3Ds. So yeah, no, I think why it matters is, well, that's what the game is. The game is taking these core elements and adding that orthogonal development and really kind of getting in there and creating that depth.
Yeah, and before you guys swipe left on us or click on the video, let me try to convince you on the importance of sort of going beyond combat when it comes to conflict resolution in our TTRPGs, all right?
Yeah.
Bear with me here. Okay, let me start by saying I think a lot of us, when it comes to combat and conflict resolutions in our TTRPGs, are not all of us, most of us are, I think, brainwashed by video games.
Pre-programmed for sure.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Like the first thing we come to mind, we're like, oh, there is some thugs that are holding my friend hostage. First thing we think of is, oh, let's go fight them and beat the crap out of them, kill them or whatever, right? We don't think about like, oh, you know, maybe they have a good reason for it. Maybe we should, right, find out more. Maybe they're not bad guys after all. Maybe they're being blackmailed, whatever, right? Our first instinct is like, nope, let's fight and kill them, right? And loot them and whatever and gain power and experience, right? So I think when we approach conflict in TTRPGs, that's what comes out of us first, right? And I think that is unfortunate because by focusing on combat solely, I think it limits your potential for storytelling and character development, which is one of the core strengths of TTRPGs, I think. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That makes it it's much more awesome than just Monopoly.
I think it's a denial of consequences as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, oh, it's not me who's actually going to get my butt kicked from jumping into that warehouse to go save somebody. It's a digital representation of me, which can die 1,000 times. I can save and reload, save and reload, save and reload.
Right.
Right. And so,
no. Well, it's just Faceless Thug 2A and Faceless Thug 2B. They look exactly the same, except one's blue and one's green. Right. So whatever. I've killed 1,000 of them. What's another? 1,000. Right. They dropped 25
all
cents.
All those blue and green families.
Each.
Our children will never
It's
come
the blue
home.
gang and the green gang usually, right? Also to all those old school River City Ransom fans out there.
Oh.
Yeah. Old school.
Javelin kick.
Oh, yeah, Grand Slam. So when I talk about like potential for like non-combat alternatives to solving conflict, I'm talking about things like talking, using dialogue, right? Negotiation, investigation into the whole situation of why it's happening. We don't. Unfortunately, it's not our first instinct to do that, right? And it does cut out so much of the meat and the magic, for lack of a better term, of TTRPGs, right? For one thing, you miss out on narrative depth, because if you don't engage in combat, you get to then do these things, right? Like talk, negotiate, investigate, and then you can explore like more nuanced things that are in the game that you wouldn't otherwise be able to in combat, like the nuances of your character's personality, the nuances of the world around them, right? Because they're not thugs; they're people with motivations and right, and your character might have specific thoughts about thugs or killing or right, and or forcing people to do things against their will and stuff like that. Which you couldn't explore those things, those nuances in your character by just rolling dice and attacking. You're using up action economy
Mm-hmm.
Right? You can non-combat solutions also let you uncover plot points.
Definitely,
right? It's a chance to do so, at least.
Yep.
It's a chance for you to have meaningful choices for your character, whereas there aren't that many meaningful choices in combat. Right? It's just efficiency in killing the other party.
Right.
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 And that's the limits of your meaningful choices, as opposed to like actual in-character meaningful choices.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And also, the non-combat solutions also allow you to showcase your character's personality, their convictions, their morality,
Mm-hmm.
right? Depending on how you go about doing it.
Mm-hmm.
For example, one guy says, "No, we don't need to fight them. Let's just go beat up their mother." Right? And then force them to give up my friend by like hurting their mother.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yes,
Then someone else could be like, well, let's maybe not do that, because morally my character is not about hurting someone innocent.
I've seen you tap around here before. You're a mother beater if I ever seen one.
Yeah, so
you dirty rat.
But you couldn't do that if you just fought directly. I'm not saying that combat is a bad choice.
No.
But by doing that, by using, I guess, focusing on combat solely, you give up all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you just focus solely on combat, you also miss out on more inclusive role play or gameplay, I should say.
Interesting.
Right? Because some players prefer other pillars in TTRPGs, like the exploration. They might enjoy the RP more than combat, right? They may enjoy problem solving over combat. And those players don't get to experience as much of that.
That's right.
Right? And some characters themselves are also built for things other than combat. Right? Like, say in D&D, your rogues have lots of skills. Right? By engaging in combat, you aren't able to use all those proficiencies that you might have. Right? And if it's always combat, like, when can I use my sneak skill? When can I use my sleight of hand? All that kind of stuff. Right?
Yeah.
So that allows sort of other non-combat focused skills and characters to shine.
Yes.
And have their spotlight. I don't know. You miss out on so much if it's just combat. You miss out on like world building. Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Right? Because by going non-combat, you allow players to sort of build relationships with NPCs, with organizations.
Okay. Okay.
Right?
Okay. Cool.
And you can build the world that way,
not world building,
but you are in some ways, because you're building relationships.
Right.
In the world.
Okay.
Yeah. Not like, I'm just gonna create
world experience.
Yeah. Not necessarily like building NPCs or like locations, but
right. Yeah.
But adding things to the world.
Adding more meaning, which then allows you to create more impactful choices. Yes. Okay. In that sense, sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Non-combat solutions also let you explore sort of ethical dilemmas, asking those important questions that are important to you as people to sort of figure out what you think about certain ethical situations.
Right.
Right. And I think it really, by not limiting yourself to those just combat, you unlock the full potential of your TTRPG as opposed to just a third of it. Right? Because there's so much more to TTRPGs, so much more to D&D than just fighting. Although it seems like it's a big main focus that people have. I think it would be a mistake to be locked into that when it comes to combat. So I hope this is sort of convinced you guys at least a little bit about how important it is to sort of think about alternative ways of solving conflict, right? Beyond combat.
Interesting. Yeah, no, what else is there to talk about? You kind of covered a lot of things there, right? In your general overview.
I mean, as a high level, I think I'm going to go deeper into these and exactly like sort of how to do it maybe.
Although that's what we do here at Caffeine and Cantrips. This is your first time here. We do try and kind of give you the story, but we want to give you the facts behind it and how you can elevate your game to make your game better, right? And all the different layers and levels. Because ultimately, you're right. Like, combat is the first floor,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And then as we go up in the skyscraper of awesomeness, right, we get to better things and better levels, but you have to have a great foundation and understanding of the first levels before you can move up.
Yeah, well, I mean, even in real life, combat usually is the last resort
For some people.
for like most civilized people.
Yes. You have combat, it comes down to you have the most to risk and the least to gain,
Mhm.
essentially. But also, if it's your first time here, the most to win for us is jumping on down right below this box where you're viewing us, hitting the like, hitting the subscribe,
That's right.
hitting the bell, ding ding, and
Yeah, no moral dilemmas there or ethical problems.
I think
The answer is very simple.
It is 1 hit point.
Yeah.
That defeated.
Right.
Liked.
There you go.
Yeah. But
I feel more popular already.
do you?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. Ooh.
Ooh. Tickles.
Ooh.
In a good way. In all the right places.
Yeah. Just like that.
Yeah.
Nod your head. Nuclear Gandhi. So it's very interesting, kind of going from that high level overview.
Mhm.
I think in general, that's a great way of introducing it from the DM's perspective, which I think I'm going to stick to
Okay.
in this
Okay.
in this particular chit chat that we're having, because there's a very different aspect to conflict resolution when you're a PC and when you're a DM.
Okay.
And I think the amount of tools that you have at your disposal is greater as a PC. The amount of planning, forethought, and execution that you can complete is far greater as a DM.
That's interesting because as DMs, you don't really necessarily resolve conflict, right? Like,
No, you absolutely do.
Oh, do you?
You do, because you narrate the success and or failure of the actions. Ultimately, the resolution comes right down to.
I guess so. You're the one who like presents the resolution.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. But you're not. You are judging the cake. You are not mixing the batter type thing,
Okay.
right? And so that's why I think it's a fair statement. Get in the comments, tell me if I'm wrong, but that it's kind of up to the PCs to prevent you with the pieces of their solution and for you to see how it fits within what you've established.
Okay.
Right? Whether it's something that works with what you're talking about, something that doesn't work with what you're talking about, something that's totally creative and you didn't even think of, or you had no solution. Right? And they came up with one and you're like, I can't believe you guys figured it out so fast.
I gave you a problem.
Oh my
no
God,
solution,
you guys are so smart.
That's not very nice.
These things happen. These things happen. So when we're talking about this from the DM's perspective,
okay.
I think we need to get ourselves organized and get ready to apply a lot of things. Okay. We need to have, we've talked about this before, you need to have your understanding of scope down pat. You need to have kind of what you're building, have a good idea of what's going on there. And ultimately what we're doing, or what we should be doing, is trying to understand that we're building the scaffolding above those layers where our players are to allow them to move up into the higher level stuff very easily and very smoothly. If I come into the combat and I have decided that these creatures, who I have checked and have at least an average intelligence of 10 or higher, right? Well, that means that they can talk. You're right. This is an option. I should have in my mind somewhere the idea that, no, the players can talk to these guys.
Right. Yeah, I get it. It's difficult for the players to pursue non-combat solutions if the DM's like, just like, goblins come, okay, roll initiative. Yep. Right away. And the players are like, oh, I guess we're fighting.
We don't get it. We don't even get a chance to talk.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, so there is no more floors to this building.
Yeah.
This is a 2-story building and that's it. Right. And so without the preconception, without the forethought of saying, okay, I understand that I want to give them an encounter.
Right.
I am not, however, saying this is a combat encounter.
Right.
This is an encounter, like not disqualifying the other types of things. Because, well, when you have multiple bards or charisma classes in your party and you send people after them, sometimes it doesn't work, right? Like, and it's not fair to the PCs to go and roll. Hey, I got a nat 20. Hey guys, why don't we sit down and talk about this before we get to punching each other in the face and getting a bloody nose?
Right.
No, Zug want pain. You're like, okay,
No talk.
cool.
Only punch.
Only punch you in the face. Okay, well, that's not very satisfying. We tried to do something, and then that was just completely shut down. The DM lumped us.
Yeah.
Right? Shout out to BBG at your table.
Yeah.
And now what do we do? Because we tried to do something, and there was nothing given back. So I guess we're fighting. I guess you have made us murder hobos because the scope of your game doesn't allow us to get in there.
Right. Well, if you think of your players as murder hobos, they will meet
They
your
will
expectation.
become the hobos of murder.
Yes.
And so, yes.
Yes.
So
The homeless, homicidal homeless.
Hobo with a Shotgun, great movie. So when we're DMs and
Better
we're
than
thinking
shotgun
about
with a
this,
hobo.
right? We're presenting these encounters, and we need to be ready for kind of lateral thinking, right? I generally try and come up with one or two kind of solutions that I can think of,
Right.
but ultimately it's 4, 5, 6 minds against mine when I'm doing this. So when they come up, they know their character sheets better than I do. Even if I have a copy of them,
Right.
I don't know all of what they're planning or all of what they're going to put together, because that's what they're specializing. Their world is their character.
Yep.
So instead of coming down to their level and trying to beat them at their own game, because that's no fun. That's very, very, I don't know, I suppose, conflict engaging between the DM and the players.
Well, it's no fun because the DM always wins.
Yeah, they can. They always can win. And
Yeah.
so therefore there's no challenge or no whatever. Right?
Yeah.
I suggest that, like I said, we get organized. And so for me, when I'm doing this, I like to break down my thoughts into the 3 pillars of a TTRPG, or at least in this case, 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. So I like to bring out RP solutions, exploration solutions, and yes, additional conflict-based solutions.
Not combat-based solutions?
Well,
Conflict-based?
I'm going to call it conflict because
Okay.
we're going to get there. Stay tuned.
Okay.
No,
Take me, Byron. Take me there.
Take you there. Yeah.
I mean, Sean.
So, right, yes. I'm not your resident Fortress and Firbolg Master.
No,
today.
I'm the resident Fortress and Firbolg Master.
My title. So, okay, so
F and F me.
it's funny. So, we have asked before, what do we always have time for? And that is RP. So, I'm going to start with RP as the first pillar that we're going to chat about. I think one of the more interesting things beyond a conversation. You said you did say this before, right? We can RP. We can just have a conversation. Maybe we can diffuse. Maybe we can de-escalate. Maybe we can whatever. Okay, great. Well, what happens if there's a fight going and the PCs know that they're going to lose real hard? And we're not talking like level 1 lose. We're talking like level 10, level 12, and they're getting their butts handed to them. Or conversely, they are the ones who are handing out beatings, and all of your monsters are getting, themselves spanked.
In a nice way.
Then I think it's time to start thinking not with portals, but with more layers. There's already rules established that aren't necessarily widely used, in my experience, but they could be, they should be. And I'm talking about like the Tasha patron rules.
Oh, yeah. I read them once maybe.
And now, well, you're not a DM, right? So it's not necessarily world building for you.
We're talking about.
But, Fortress. You're Fortress Master, not a
Fortress
DM.
Master,
You're an FM. Radio?
Ooh.
So when we're doing this, what would it look like if the PCs became patronized?
Don't patronize me.
Do patronize me, says the PCs. What happens if they start to create vassals? Or you've got NPCs that they're like, we're not going to kill you, but now you owe us your life. You work for us now. And then the honor-bound, noble orc warrior goes, fine, right? I owe you my life. I will pay this life debt off somehow. Until I save your life, I serve you.
Right.
Right? And you're just like, oh, yes, awesome. That's a cool moment.
Mm-hmm.
And now they have this great connection to this NPC that could now become a major NPC,
Yep.
right? Like Shadow of Mordor, where you let one of the orcs kill you and then he gets a name and he becomes a warlord and stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, I made you. These kinds of things are pretty awesome because then you create a special connection.
Every time you kill me, it's like me killing myself.
And yeah, it's me making myself better. This is that world building that you were alluding to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So not only can we get our butts handed to us as players, as PCs, sorry, and then we can get in the opposite position. They say, you will serve us faithfully because you owe us a life debt, right?
Yep.
And they go, no, we're not. Okay, then we're going to kill you. Well,
right.
maybe we will. What do we have to do to not die in this case? Right. And that creates this really interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you use the sidekick rules, also in the same book,
Mm-hmm.
or you use the patron rules, and depending on what kind of combat you're looking at or encounter, remember, it's an encounter.
Yep.
Depending on what's going on, some of those kind of entities that you might be coming up against in conflict are like academies or like bard colleges or like wizard schools, an ancient being of great power. So that could be some of your high CR monsters, or it could be an old god. It could be something nameless and formless that just kind of exists in your world.
Right.
We've got aristocrats, high-powered, non-combat characters, right? Who have a lot of power, but not a lot of strength necessarily, or maybe inversely, whatever.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Criminal syndicates are always another one. Bandits, right? This is a simple version to
the
bandito, all the way to like the underground black market that we always like to seek out in capital cities. Guilds, military organizations, religious orders, and even sovereigns or like rulers of areas.
Okay.
These are all great examples of organizations that your PCs can run up against and then become spared, receive mercy from them.
Right.
Right. And when doing that, you are now into the RP zone, right? As the DM, you go, okay, look, initiative is now dropped. Unless you guys want to continue. Does anybody want to continue? Do note that they appear ready to end you. And if any of you surrender when you're already getting beaten, those who will, stand up and fight back needlessly, uselessly, will probably die outright. You're not even going at this fight with the rest of your full power.
Right.
Right. And so taking that moment to speak to the PCs.
Right.
And be like,
to the players themselves.
Hey guys, check this out. This is what's happening. I want to make sure you understand the consequences of continuing down this path. Right. Getting there and leveling with them in that moment is a really strong and powerful move to kind of show just where they're at and that they do now need to think creatively.
Right.
They do now need to become very mentally agile, very yes and dig in and find the way out of the fog. Right. Or whatever it is, whatever the situation they've got themselves locked into. And using those organizations to fit your campaign or to fit, you can go and create more world building. You can go and create more story hooks. You can go and go, no, Blue Gang and Green Gang are actually being persecuted by Orange Gang.
Right.
And that's why they're over here taking important individuals away from powerful people. Because they need that extra muscle to push back against Orange, and this is the only way they know how.
Right, and Orange Gang's really bad.
And they're real bad. Yeah. So if we don't gang up and stop them together, everybody loses. Right? Like there's ways of doing this, and this is the forethought. This is the prep. This is the understanding of what's going on in the world around what the PCs are doing that will allow you to become creative yourself. And I'll give them access to the elevator with all the floors and have something for them in each of these floors, wherever they might go to in our building metaphor. And I think one of the good things, we talked about this before, is to teach them that death isn't always the answer early on in the campaign.
Right. Yeah.
Right. In my own campaign right now, there are countries that my PCs can visit where death is punishable, period. Doesn't matter if you're defending yourself. It doesn't matter if Bennett's attacked you on the road. It doesn't matter if, we saw him slip and fall down the stairs. But that's a knife wound. Yes,
He fell on his knife.
fell on a knife on the way down 37 times. Right? Like these sorts of
Clumsy.
things. No, this is not acceptable. You were there. This is that. You have a consequence here. Okay,
Right.
so now we know that death is no longer on the table unless we want to face punishment. If you have a lawful, quote unquote, good party, they're not going to do evil things in this country.
Right.
They need to figure out ways of not being a murder hobo, just a hobo crippler or something, right?
Crippler hobo.
Don't go all the way. Never go full murder hobo. But these sorts of ideas can allow the precognition in the players of, okay, we have to come up with creative solutions because what we normally do doesn't work here. And we've had the warning directly from the DM or the FF that we've got to change up our status quo.
Right.
And I think these are really powerful ways of getting out there and getting ahead of them and just saying, hey, do something cool here. Right? Here's your permission and warning that this is the cool zone. Come up with some creative stuff.
Right.
Right? And that's where we get into the rule of cool thing. Right? When people go out and they do appreciate what you've done and they do understand what's happening, reward them for doing that.
Right.
Reward them for being like, you know what? I'm going to eat crow here. I'm going to get on my knees and I'm going to beg. My proud character is going to say, please
Don't
spare
kill me.
us. Don't kill us. Shut up, wizard. We can't take him. You're out of fireballs. Right? Like, just, we give up. Right? And go, you know what? That was a really powerful moment for your character to have to just do that.
Right.
Right? And make sure that they're not just like, oh yeah, but I'm going to stab them as soon as they turn their back. Right? Like,
Typical.
I told you this is not going to work.
Right.
Right? You need to kind of follow through with this. Or maybe once you're free and clear, quote unquote free and clear, you still owe them a life debt, but maybe you don't want to do that. And so there's consequences for not fulfilling that part, not playing the part of the characters and kind of going with it. So, you know, a lot of times it could be just straight up RP or die. And that's okay. That's definitely okay. So, yeah, that's my kind of deep dive into RP version.
Interesting.
Of conflict resolution.
No, it's. I like how you talked about it, though. I mean, because it's so important for the DM to allow for that non-combat solution, the space for that non-combat solution. You guys see that? Is that too low?
No, I don't know. I don't know.
The space. There you go. For non-combat.
We're hugging the
solutions.
mic, which also is your ears.
Right? Because and the DM needs, because if you constantly punish your players for trying to do non-combat things, they'll stop doing it. And they will become murderous.
Yeah, second floor, menswear.
Right.
Third floor, menswear. Fourth floor, menswear. Like it's the same thing.
I guess I'll wear menswear.
You keep. Yeah, I guess that's what we're doing.
Right. So in some ways, if your party is a bunch of homiciders,
Homicidios.
it's kind of it's maybe a dead hot take saying it's the DM's fault.
It can be one of the causes.
Right.
And while correlation and blah, 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 if there's a limitation on either side of the table, yeah, that's one of the problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, no, that's cool. Okay. Let me come at it from the other side then. Let's mouth noises. Let's come at it from the PC side.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. Because no, I like a lot of things that you talked about. And it's interesting because if you're used to always fighting, how do you go about, like, what does non-combat solutions look like when it comes to like solving conflicts with people and creatures and stuff like that? For me, recently I've discovered the joy of playing a eloquence bard in D&D.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
There's two of us for you guys out there. There's two eloquence bards in the party.
I remember.
And I discovered the greatness that is building relationships and alliances with NPCs.
Yes.
So, I mean, if you're wondering how to solve conflicts like that, do that as a lifestyle choice, right? And you will find that your options are greatly expanded.
Yeah, I like it.
Right? It's not just like, oh, all of a sudden I'm faced with bandits, I'm gonna try to make friends with them. Right? Just make friends with all the people, and people that you don't necessarily think that you might want to be friends with as a character, because relationships are resources. They're almost as good as a magic spell, or better, to be honest.
Or better,
depending on the relationship and the alliance. Right, greater than the strongest sword, the stoutest shield. Right, because like you talked about the consummate politician NPC. Right,
or the aristocrat,
the aristocrats, the kings,
aristocrats.
Yes. Everybody wants to be a cat.
It's a great movie.
Earning trust and gaining allies. Because that's the power. Like a king.
God damn it, Druid.
How many levels does a typical king have? None.
No, right? PC levels for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But are they more powerful than the PCs? Absolutely, right? But they rarely engage in direct combat.
Well, and shout out to our expert archetype, because a sovereign or a king, queen, a ruler should be an absolute expert.
Yes. Right?
In utilizing this world and the power that they have.
Because what are they? A king is really just relationships. That's all. That's the entirety of their power.
Yeah, or organization. I guess relationships is a good way.
Right? Yeah. It's through relationships they get money. And money, right? And money is power.
This relationship is tax. Oh.
Well, it is, though, but it's enforceable by my relationship with the guys who own the army.
Correct. Which is me again.
Right. And the guards and so forth. Right.
Yes.
It's my relationship with the nobles, because if they didn't like me, they didn't accept me, they would just oust me. Right. Typical nobles.
Typical nobles.
So if you sort of engage in that sovereign lifestyle, right, of making friends everywhere. Right. And as my bard did, made friends everywhere, and it was great. Right. Use diplomacy, negotiation. All right. And that's your perception checks, your deception checks, your intimidation checks,
your insight.
Their insight for sure.
And your animal handling.
And yes. Yes.
Get your hands off me, you damn dirty ape.
And you will be surprised at the strings you can pull to solve problems.
Yes.
Without having to lift a finger yourself.
Yes.
Just wagging your tongue. So to speak.
Silver tongue.
I recall in the most recent campaign that we played together, you were the DM, with me as the bard. Right at the beginning, there was
one of them.
A merchant called Valdi, and he was a bad guy. Whatever. Not really. He was kind of antagonistic, right? Anyways,
correct.
He was in opposition to the party.
He had his own needs and wants and personality.
Anyways,
yes,
we got through that first encounter.
Got to protect my Valdi.
Escaped him, but my bard decided to be, let's go make friends with him. Right? Just out of the entire rest of our party who hated him, my character was like, no, let's just be friends. Why not? Let's chat. Let's be civilized. Why not? Right? Let's start to develop that relationship. I remember then next couple nights later, we went to some tavern, and I believe you set up these thugs there who you wanted to pick a fight with us. Me and the other bard, other eloquence bard, but we're like, no, let's be friends. Right? So we had shared drinks, became friends, insulted some other people, right? Great.
Other PCs. Yeah.
Right?
No, it was true.
Right? Found out that they were mercenaries. They would do just about anything for money.
Kind of.
And then went back to Valdi. Wanted something from Valdi. He said, okay, then you need to find this burglar that's been ransacking the town for me. But instead of, I think the first sort of way we're trained to do is, I'm going to go find that burglar. I'm going to find him and then beat him down and then bring him to jail and have a fight. But because we had made friends with Valdi and then made friends with the mercenary group, Zizkander was this guy's name, we decided to be like, oh, why don't I, if the reward is like 200 gold or something like that to bring this robber in, I'm going to hire Zizkander and his group of mercenaries for 100 gold to do it for me. Because we've established that we're friends and they'll do things for money because they're mercenaries. I'll pocket a cool 100 gold and not have to do a thing, right?
Correct.
All because we'd had built up relationships.
Yes.
Right. And that's the power of relationship. And that's a conflict that never even happened for my character.
So,
at that time.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it was great. And I think you enjoyed it too.
Type 2.
Really? Was it type 2?
Yeah. It wasn't. It wasn't
like that.
Not a long diatribe. But no, it was not. I had goals for those encounters, which weren't necessarily combat.
Right.
I did design them as encounters. The Zizkander one, he did want to kind of punch some faces. But the Valdi one was an attempt at baiting the PC's morality.
Right.
To see how, because it was early in the campaign, to see how the PCs had differing moralities and differing kind of true north in their own internal compasses.
Kampai, no.
Don't be me off. No, so there's
look at me, Kampai.
So sorry about that. Compass. Multiple compasses. It was a chance. That was the goal. It was a chance for the party to look around at the other characters at the table and get a better insight in how they do business, what their day-to-day life is. And then my two fun, awesome bards were just like, no, that's cool. And then kind of a chase, not chase. There was no like dramatic incline to the encounter. It was diffused by a few words and really just kind of this playful back and forth that never escalated when that's what it was intended to do. But once again, you have to open up the possibilities for the players to come up with creative responses to what you're doing. And so I understood that encounter was going to be an encounter where really I didn't want the NPCs to attack first.
Right.
I wanted them to have a real reason to do that.
We just ran away, I think.
Even if they instigated kind of a false reason in subterfuge and then provided something later. Yeah. But it was super. No, it was good because then the party still got to see, they didn't get to see the morality of each other, but they got to see how the other party members operate.
Yeah.
And so there was still a viewpoint. It was a success. Mission accomplished. And we moved forward, but it was an interesting way of finding alternatives to solutions outside the range of what I had perceived.
Right.
Yes. It took a long time before you guys actually got in a fight.
Sorry. Not sorry, though. It was super fun.
Yeah. No, it is. It is. And it was very interesting to have you go through and dive into the lore until you figured out all the pieces, until you could find that Tetris.
Right.
Right. And then you almost got there.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah. But no, it was super interesting. It was super interesting.
Yeah. Make friends in all the places. And you will have so many tools to deal with conflict. You never thought you would before. Because just because you don't do it direct combat doesn't mean one of your friends can't.
Right. And that saves like 3 hours sometimes if it's a big combat. Geez. And you just let the NPCs figure it out.
They can do it while I do something else more important.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. Delegation.
Like try to find out if everyone in the town's undead or not.
They're not. But yes, that's great. So that you can multitask essentially and use the world to investigate itself. No, it was brilliant.
And in the meantime, find out so much more about the world and how it works. Too.
Yeah.
And speaking about how you can figure out how the world works better in the lore, if you want to find out how the YouTube algorithm works better, go ahead and click on that like and subscribe button and the bell. And if you're listening, the follow button.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
And we'll see. We'll see just how that affects.
Yeah, because we'll see a whole bunch more of you and you'll see a whole bunch more of us. But maybe we won't see a bunch more of you. I don't know if the algorithm's that powerful yet.
Some.
Big Brother.
We're getting there.
algorithm.
We're getting there, guys.
Yeah, we're not quite NSA levels, or are we?
Mm.
No, so it was really. Yes, I know I kind of explained the other side of the screen on that, but it was a great version in that example of utilizing two antagonistic, non-essentially designed as helpful NPCs to the party, but not necessarily designed as enemies to the party either.
Yeah.
But it was great to see parts of the party engage with what was going around them and really exploring the space that was created in that building, all the floors. What does each floor have? What's on sale? What's our deal of the day? Right. And going around to dig into these different opportunities and hooks and bait. And then simultaneously, I was able to weave in different things.
Yeah.
Right? Different lore, different hooks, different story beats, all this kind of stuff. So that is a very nice segue from RP, what I talked about.
Okay.
Coming through what you just talked about into the second pillar that I organized my thoughts into generally, which is exploration. Right? And we've talked about exploration a few times before. But specifically in this case, going beyond combat, right? If we go back to the first floor, basic combat, and then we're looking up a new building here, how can we make it more interesting? How can we use our sense of curiosity to take us beyond just dice and damage? And death. And Triple D's. One of the
Triple
things...
D's.
It's really funny.
Can I say that?
Maybe we won't use the F-bomb this one. We'll just Triple D. That's another shirt. We got to remember that. So going into this, physical exploration is the first part of exploration that I want to kind of mini dive into. So this is using the environment. The DM has put bushes and trees on the combat map. Can I hide in a bush using my stealth as the rogue? Can I climb the tree using my spider climb ability or whatever it is, right? And so then now I'm out of range of the wolves that are attacking or whatever it is, right? Can we cut the ropes on the bridge, the suspension bridge, and do one of those cinematic things where it falls and the bad guys on one half and the good guys are on the other half and Benny's on the wrong side of the river. These sorts of things are great only if we provide them. Now, one of the things that I encourage my players to do, which does not happen very often in combat, they're kind of allowed to, kind of not. It's a bit of a gray area. I will say so. Check with your DM first before you do this. But I allow my players to fill the environment with items that normally can conceivably be there. We're wandering around in a forest. Okay, I don't see on the combat map that you drew out a stick that fell off a tree. But can I find a stick and cast shillelagh on it or whatever and then use that? Yeah, probably. Right? Like that's really conceivable. Can I run off the wall and jump and catch the chandelier and swing over past the line of guards to get at the king?
Right. Can I cut off his arm and then cast shillelagh on it?
Sovereign shillelagh, unlock. The last part, not so much. But, utilizing these parts is exploring the environment, right? We, at the table, have either a free perception or insight every round. And that's to allow the PCs to explore the space and really utilize stuff that's there. So in that creative license, in that engaging entertainment, and going deeper, going farther, yes, these sorts of things are super interesting, right?
Yeah.
In addition, you kind of alluded to this before, so I'll kind of just tap on this one, but the exploration of the groups involved, right? This is another physical thing. Like, why are they here?
Why are they here?
Why are you here, blue gang, green gang? Oh, because orange gang is pushing you out of your territory and you need help. Okay, that makes sense. Wait, instead of fighting, can I just help you with orange gang and then you release your kidnapped people? And then we can, okay, that's cool. Let's do that. Let's just stop all these hostilities and let's work on that. Awesome. By investigating, by going places, right? By digging into, what do you need, Valdi? What do you need, Ziskander? Can I use you to do something? I can do this. Oh, because we need this bad. Okay, great. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Right? Figuring out what the motivations of people are is a good one. And that leads us right into the mental exploration of combat and conflict. The most powerful weapon is your mind. What do they want? Why is there tensions?
Yeah.
What is the lesson? Remember, if we're a DM, what is the lesson or the game mechanic that we're trying to expose the PCs to so that they can do that Mario style learning, right? I'm going to import something and I'm going to import phase 2 of that and then import phase 3 of that so that there's a soft and easy escalation. So when I go from phase 6 to phase 8 and maybe not phase 7, if they go, whoa, this is cool and crazy and I didn't think you could do that, but I understand how all the pieces work. Right. I understand and I can grow in my mind to deal with the combat threats or the conflict threats that are here. So now I can act upon them in a smart way and not just go, I don't know how to do this. Right.
Yeah.
And so figuring out what they want, figuring out what's in the area that might be in need. Right. Oh, we're bandits because we're starving. Why are we starving? Oh, because the druid that lives in the forest has cursed all the fields. Oh, okay. I know what you need. Taxes. It doesn't match up. But if you start exploring the mental aspects of why the characters are doing, the NPCs are doing what they're doing, then you can actually get to the root of the problem.
Okay.
Where you stop dealing with the symptoms and you can go for the root of what's happening.
The actual sickness.
Yeah. Druid. Sick druid.
Sick. Sick of you.
Yes. And like I was saying, maybe what they need is not a physical item, right? That they desire. Satisfying that desire might mean that there's no more fight. Hey, what did you just wanted friendship? Okay, I'll give you a hug.
Right.
We can be friends.
Right.
Oh, okay. Right? Big hug, and then you're like, oh, thanks, buddy. And then now you don't have to pay a toll on that bridge. Wicked. You made a friend in a new place, right? And you figured out that, no, this is not a big deal. They're just lonely. Cool. Awesome. And then we get into the dark, scary place because we get into emotional exploration.
Okay.
For most. A lot of us?
No, I don't particularly like it either. I think it's really good. I'm not comfortable with that.
And we've talked about it before. This is what I'm trying to expand on and increase my ability to evoke certain emotions.
Yeah.
And
don't make me feel my feelings, guys.
Don't make me feel them. I think, once again, as a DM,
I like how you call it dark.
It
shows where we're coming from here.
It's Luke training on Dagobah, right? Like, you can go anywhere you want, but not into that cave. That cave is full of the dark stuff. And then he kills himself. Spoilers. So we're getting
seagulls.
Okay.
Stop it now.
That's it. So when we're dealing with these things, I think the encounter needs to have emotional tags to it. What am I trying to express?
Okay.
What am I trying to bring out of the players? What is this encounter going to do? Am I threatening a physical need, a mental need, or spiritual need of the PCs? Feel the why.
Like, what are you putting in conflict and why?
Correct. Right? And it shouldn't just be their hit points.
Because that's boring.
It's the first floor.
Yeah.
Right?
It's not boring, it's shallow.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. That's the beginning. But if I'm not putting your hit points in danger, I'm putting your kidnapped friend's hit points in danger.
Right.
Now you know the why. Right? Because that's my friend.
Your friend from the bridge.
Your friend from the bridge. I just made that friend. Then you start to create a connection, an emotional connection to the encounter that is going to make for better roleplay because you are informing additional information in the players that they can then broadcast that through the PCs to create more immersive, better roleplay. You're just moving up in the floors.
Yeah.
And it's tough. Like, I have the least amount of description for emotional exploration because It's the most nuanced, and you are going to know best for your table, right? All your lines, all your veils, all your X cards, all that stuff that you talked about in session 0, you're going to have a different experience with emotional engagement. And while it is not capital, bold, underline, not fair to expect your DM to be your therapist, there is a level of emotionality that we should be getting to in these sessions. And that's going to be different for everybody on their own journey, right? Just because the person sitting next to you can cry on command and feel it, well, they went to theater in high school and they're 3 years of training ahead of you. Okay, don't expect yourself to be on their journey.
Right.
Right? But understand that from a PC's perspective, why am I here? Why am I connected to what's happening right now? Oh, I'm a knight who protects the innocent and weak. Well, my party are innocent. They may not be weak, but they have been thrust into these dark circumstances, and it's up to me to make sure that we all get out safe. Right. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this. Okay, so safety is a main concern. Great. So play that up. Somebody gets hit in combat. No, get behind me. My shield. I move over here. Oh, but then I expose this person. I'm torn between my two, backline people. Create that engagement as a player. Accept and understand that this is what you're trying to impart, and kind of think of what your theme or emotion is in the scenes before you get there, because that will have a great impact on that narrative language that you use to infuse. It's a house. Oh, okay. No.
It's a happy house.
It's a happy house. No, it's brightly painted. Bright and fresh colors adorn its walls. Neat little rows of flowers are in the garden. Expertly manicured. They're perfectly maintained. Okay, this is a witch's house. I know, Hansel and Gretel. This is a witch's house.
I was going to say, they're perfectly manicured by dull-eyed children.
Yeah. Right? But there's tropes and there's twists on tropes and whatever. But by doing this, you're now creating a sense of interest in the player. Oh, no. It's a good witch. That's why everything's nice and bright, because she wants people to come over, or they want people to come over. Oh, no. It's a bad witch that wants to look like a good witch, but is actually really, really bad. And that's also the same trap. They want people to come to this bright cottage, right?
Oh, the barbarian one took a bite of the cottage, and they found out it was a sandwich.
Did anybody order a BLT cottage?
Oh.
It's freshly toasted.
It's so good, guys.
It's so amazing.
The Indes delivery.
Whoa. So it was just like Baba Yaga's Uber Eats. Is that what we're doing?
Oh, nice. These giant chicken legs.
That's so good. Trademark Caffeine Cantrips. So calling dibs on it. No, these
the second ed spell like that, I think.
Is there second ed?
Yeah. Some hut spell. Anyways. Yeah. We digress.
No, but these sorts of things are triggers to explain. Use the music. Use whatever you want, right? Use your language to evoke certain things, to give them more information. PCs and DMs alike. Give more information about what's going on. Oh, the character looks flush in their face, darkened around their eyes, and they're fighting back tears. Why? We just ordered dinner. What is happening right now that you are so out of the norm? Nothing. I just love chicken. Okay. That's...
My mother was a sandwich.
My mother was a sandwich. Yes, your mom was a sandwich. I digress entirely. But this is probably the most important and most difficult part of exploration. And that's why it needs the most thought and care and attention.
I mean, I guess for people like us, I'm sure there are others out there who are like really connected with emotions and stuff like that.
Oh,
they're just super well-adjusted people emotionally.
I don't know. If you play D&D and go to therapy, you must be like really even-keeled.
Depends how traumatizing your D&D is. If you have to go to therapy. Yeah. I go to therapy because I play D&D, guys.
I DM in the weekends, but Monday to Friday, I am a therapist. I'm always making new business. How are your parents?
No, cool. Cool.
Yeah,
Interesting. Yeah, I know the emotional part is difficult.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. But I think that's why it's got the most floors. When you really start digging into it, you've got the most space to explore in the emotional landscape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out if you can use emotion as a tool to conflict resolution.
Calm
Yes.
emotions, 2nd level spell. Everybody's hopped up, angry. No, let's talk about this. Boom.
Well, it just provide like, oh, the DM didn't give me the opportunity for, like he said, roll initiative. I said calm emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Pff, let's pull it back here, guys.
Yeah.
Right now that everyone's calm, you don't necessarily want to fight yet anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Let's chat.
Mm-hmm.
I'll create that space myself. There are ways.
There are ways.
Right?
There are.
You just have to think creatively. I think, especially as from a player point of view. Again, you need to. I think if you're pulling your attention away from combat, it's best. I think you need to focus on the opening and not the wall.
Okay.
Right? Like for example, in that example, what you want is beyond the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Don't focus on the wall and stuff that's blocking you.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on the openings, the windows, the doors, right? The ladders that go over the wall.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Focus on the solutions, not the problems. Get creative. Right?
Yes.
It's not always about bashing down the wall.
No.
That's right. The most sort of basic and shallow.
Right. It's not an 8-foot wall. It looks like a 10-foot ladder to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, get creative. Think outside of the box. Think outside of the combat box.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like you said, explore. The DM's going to use exploration. The players use exploration. Right. Use the environment around you, objects that you see. I don't know, personal weaknesses of NPCs that you might have discovered through your investigation.
Mm-hmm. And vice versa.
Like green gang and blue gang against orange gang, right? Maybe I don't want to help them fight necessarily orange gang. Maybe I'm just going to investigate the leader of orange gang, right, and find out if he has any personal weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, he has a mother that he really loves.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to go threaten his mother.
Right.
Kidnap her then.
I'm going to do it back.
Right? And then, and I don't need you to, capitulate to the two, but get together and talk, the three of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if we can broker a deal.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing bad will happen to your mother.
Oh, blue and green, you did something bad to me. I will see your field salted. I'm going to go talk to orange gang.
Wait, personal weaknesses is definitely a tool that you can use, but you have to discover it.
You
right?
do.
Put in the work for it.
Yep.
Right?
Find where you have leverage.
Right. Gosh, almost every party has access to magic to achieve your goal.
Yeah.
It's a wall? Oh, nope. Now it's a wall with a big hole in it. I'm just going to walk through.
A wall of what?
A wall with a big hole in it?
Oh, okay.
What did you hear?
I don't know. I don't know what I heard.
I was speaking in tongues.
I just wanted clarification.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was it something naughty? That's too bad.
It's a hole in a wall.
It's something. But yeah, so investigate and find those. If it's not immediately apparent what the alternate solution is, investigate.
Mm-hmm.
Look, talk, and find.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely you'll be able to find an alternate means, because combat is one solution and there are multitudes of other solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you train your mind to think of the others solutions, seeing the windows and the doors in the wall instead of just the wall itself, you'll find that there's so many ways of dealing with conflict that aren't combat.
Well, this is a good point to maybe bring up session zeros and additional session zeros, just briefly. If previously you did not understand the breakdown of the game, how much combat, how much RP, how much whatever, and everyone at the table decided, no, 20% RP, 80% combat. We love combat at this table. We just want to fight. And they're getting frustrated because you keep asking questions, or you keep trying to explore, you didn't agree to that style of play.
Right.
right? And now you're kind of adjusting and then forcing everyone else to slow down or disengage with their fun and engagement. Maybe time to re-up and go, hey guys, I'm having a lot of fun coming up with alternative solutions.
Yep.
I don't want to step on any toes though.
Right.
Please let me know if this is too much. If you guys are seeing this and you're thinking, oh, we've never actually tried looking at this creative stuff before. It's kind of cool. Maybe we should all do it more. Okay, where does that needle need to go? Or is that needle precisely where it is?
Right.
And then, okay, this campaign, we're going to keep it at 2080. But next campaign, can we maybe do 40-60 or something?
Right.
And try something different? And just make sure that you're not stepping on toes.
Right.
Because if you guys have already, or if your team, your table, has already decided that there's a certain amount of straight up combat that's going to happen, and you're like, whoa, then you're fighting against that social contract.
We said 80-20. Where he killed 4 to 5 guys. That last one I'm making friends with. Don't you guys touch him.
4 out of 5 dentists
that guy's
agree.
mine.
That guy's mine. Trident.
Right, that's the deal.
Oh, that's funny. I like
but,
that.
I mean, yeah, making friends. I mean, and you might be saying, hey, Sean, yeah, you're making friends. You're playing a bard, an eloquent bard at that. Of course, it's easy for you, right?
Yeah.
But you can do that with any other character.
Yeah.
Right? Like, mages, and magic users have all the spells, the charm spells, the friend spells.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, they have limitations, but, right, calm emotions. You've got so many of these tools that you can do relatively the same things, right?
I have a pure class fighter named Cupid, and all he has is man catchers.
He loves catching those men.
Loves catching them men's.
Making friends.
Cupid.
Yes. Right? And really, and then negotiation with an NPC is mostly the players anyways.
Yes.
Right? I don't believe there's many persuasion rules at all when it was when I was playing my bard, talking to Valdi, talking to Ziskander. It was some in there, I think, a couple, but not that many.
Well, this is what I'm doing, right? So I'm talking about what I want to talk about, and I'm talking about the things I want to do. Okay, then I adjust the DC appropriately, and then you roll, right? And so I'm not going to ask for anything. Okay, well, then you're not actually persuading to any goal yet.
Right.
You're just setting the stage.
Yeah.
You're just playing with that DC modifier. Okay,
let me buy you a drink. Let me ask you what you do. Let me
right?
Make you think you're funny, laugh at your jokes, and blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Yep. And any kind of a barbarian can do that.
Correct.
A fighter, a rogue, anyone.
Probably do it better.
Yeah.
Sit, drink.
Friends now.
Friends now.
Yeah. Rogues, be sneaky. Right? Magic users use illusions.
Where did this drink come from?
Yours now. Use disguises. Traps, right? Physical traps. If all of Orange Gang falls into my bear traps, we don't have to fight them anymore, right? Because they're stuck. Or if they fall into my emotional trap, they're all my greatest fans now. They don't want to fight.
Nice,
right?
Until the spell wears off.
Right.
Mass suggestion.
Mass suggestion. Permanence. Blackmail works real good. Right? Not the most moral, but I don't know. Is it more moral than killing someone? Yes, probably. I don't know. It's debatable. Let me know in the comments. Would you rather be killed or blackmailed?
I suppose it's blackmail for what?
In general, I think.
If you want my stuff,
as a general rule, maybe blackmail.
You want my stuff?
You want me to blackmail you?
Okay.
Okay. Right. But again, there are non-combat ways of doing this. Even though things might seem like they're designed specifically for combat, there's always a non-combat way of doing it. Yeah, I'm going to stick by that. There's always a non-combat solution.
Yes, there always is. Sometimes it might be difficult. Sometimes it might require a bit of explanation as to what's happening and why you're doing it and what you're trying to do. But utilizing magic is so good. A well-placed suggestion gets you anywhere or anything.
Yeah.
even I'm curious, like application of like non-combat spells, non-combat. I'm gonna put in quotations.
Fifth
But,
ed
like,
D&D has so few of them. I don't
yeah,
like it.
it truly
But-
does. And maybe that's where we need to look for alternative solutions to this. Like, what happens if I am a fighter
Mhm.
in a gladiator kind of pit or an arena type thing where I'm fighting one-on-one, but somebody has cast detect thoughts
Right.
for me, on
Mhm.
me. And so now I am staring at my opponent, reading just their surface thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go for his right side. I'm going to go for the.
I play defensively. Wear him out.
Okay, I know how to.
Yeah.
I know what he's going to do. This whole fight, everything is on his surface. This is. I'm on juke when I need to juke.
Yeah.
I'm on attack when I need to attack. Right? How does he know what I'm thinking? You know, it's a very interesting play on the idea of how that spell works. Simultaneously having the conversation with it.
How does he know what I'm thinking? Does he have detect thoughts? He's thinking that. He's wondering if I have detect thoughts on. What? Do I? And then when you both have detect thoughts, you can hear each other's thoughts about the other person's thoughts. And it just devolves into this. Did you think of that or am I thinking that? I don't know. Then you can talk it out.
Then you just put down your swords and like, wait, why are we doing
Am I
this?
thinking that or are you thinking that? I don't know.
I don't know.
F mages.
Yes, and then the rebellion started. But there's these sorts of things out there. There are spells that we take for granted because we don't read them.
Yeah.
And we should read them with an open mind, right? Deny yourself expectations.
Right.
Just read it and then ponder. What can I do with this? Where
Well, like it's like
could it be?
they all at first glance seem like combat because they're presented that way. And like,
Yeah.
oh, if you shoot at someone, it does 1d6 damage,
Mhm.
right? But acid splash, why can't I splash it onto the lock, the bars, right, and eat through it and then escape, right, on
Yep.
someone's belt buckle, fall down, and then everyone laughs at them because they're humiliated.
Pantsed. Yep.
Right, and then now that politician is no longer in the runnings to be mayor because he's exposed himself in public, and now your favorite candidate wins the race.
Right. And then you
Right.
target their morality because now that candidate is going to get executed because flashing is a capital punishment.
Right,
And you're like, oh no, now we got to save him
right,
from jail.
and that
We
was
didn't want
that was a level 0 cantrip.
correct. Just cantrip.
Well, they're not level 0 anymore.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Level 0 spell cantrip.
Right. Redundant. Yeah. But no, it's a good, if not great, idea
Mhm.
on how can I use combat things for non-combat? How can I use non-combat for combat? Right. Shape water.
Mhm,
Another
my
excellent
favorite.
suggestion, right? Like these sorts of things, all the way up to and definitely including stuff like dominate spells, dominate person, dominate monster, mass domination. These sorts of things are ridiculous.
What one of our favorite stories? I don't know if we've told it before on the podcast.
I
Well,
think it got edited out, actually.
Okay. In our past campaign, we were going up against I don't know some count in his with like defeat him and his friends.
It was Lord Braxton or something.
Anyways, and like we went to our party went to the gates, and we dominated the gate guard and tell him that we are on the guest list, even though we didn't know there was a guest list, but the guard believed that there was one, and he escorted us through the whole
Open every door.
for us.
Mhm.
All the other guards are like, where are you guys going? They're on the guest list, right? Going to see the count,
Mm-hmm.
right? Go to the count, and then dominated him. He rolled poorly, and he just killed all his friends for us.
Yeah. Domination can be extremely vicious.
And then he started crying afterwards.
He did because he
murdered
killed all of
friends.
his friends. Yeah, no, it was powerful, and we were emotionless husks of younger angst and rage.
Yes.
Yeah. So we didn't engage in an emotional level. We were murder hobos with magic.
I still enjoy the memory though.
It's
Years later.
super fun.
You're fired. And you're fired. Arrow slaying.
Arrows of
You're
slaying.
fired. Arrows
It
of
was
slaying.
brutal. Yes. and ultimately, I guess that kind of brings me around to solving combat with combat.
I thought we were supposed to avoid combat.
Well, we want to go beyond combat, I think is what we said.
What's beyond combat? More combat.
Bed Bath and Beyond combat. I would probably shop there
that
more.
place would not have gone out of business if it was like that.
I'd like some soap. I'll be over in the pillow fight section. Awesome. No, when we're talking about this, can you right now, challenge time, 50 XP on the line. Can you or can your fight not be about fighting?
But still be about fighting?
No, still have fighting but not be about fighting.
Interesting.
And I think the answer is unequivocally yes. Just like if you can have non-combat things be combat and combat things be non-combat, you can be fighting but not have it about the fight. Okay, so what does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
It means that the goal is no longer about reducing hit points to 0.
Okay.
Okay. If that's a base level kind of understanding of what we're doing, let's talk about what that could be. So DMs, once again, when you're planning your encounters, PCs, when you're engaging into an encounter, right? We're both asking either pre-plan or in the moment, what is happening right now? Or what do I want to see happen? So maybe this is we're on the left side, they're on the right side, and the object that we're both after is at the end of the hall, right? It's whoever can get to the end of the hall first, right? Kind of a Cedric Diggory, you know.
Diggory? Yeah, it's not. That's a different kind of book.
Well,
Cedric Diggory.
Maybe I got the wrong book. But, you know, it's getting to the...
Harry Potter's Chalice of Fire.
Chalice, yes. Goblet.
Oh,
is it Goblet of Fire?
Yes, Goblet.
Okay, so you correct me, I correct you. Yeah. Goblet of Fire.
He likes
Way better book.
He likes to goblet it down. It's Goblet of Fire.
Harry, did you put your name in the goblin?
Stop burning me.
So there's an object that you're both parties or teams or groups, organizations, whatever it is, are racing to get to this object. Perhaps it's an object that somebody's already holding and you need to get the MacGuffin out of their hands and into your own hands. These sorts of things make it about utilizing your action economy, not necessarily to reduce them to 0 hit points, though that is a solution, a possible solution, right? Yep. Base floor is still a floor. But that's instead of using Wall of Force normally to separate up the party so we can surround and pound left and then right. No, I'm going to create an obstacle so that we can get ahead. We can get a little bit further ahead. Or maybe I'm going to make them just slow enough that my rogue, using their bonus action dash and a move and stuff, can get there faster without them interfering with them.
Right.
Or they're lobbing fireballs and they're lobbing whatever it is. I'm going to use that to make a protective tunnel. Whatever these things are, right?
Right. I'm just going to toss freaking lots of caltrops that way.
Yes. The goal here is the object.
Right.
Right. Another goal, conversely, could be time. Right. We must hold this cathedral from the undead hordes for 1 hour. The goal is not to wait out and destroy every single undead out there. Right? The goal is to keep them out of the cathedral till dawn.
That's what's happening in that clip. It's a bard. Let me tell you something. Wait. Let me tell you something. Undead, let me tell you something.
Yes.
Stop.
Yeah, so this can be another goal where it's not necessarily about the fight. I'm going to use my action to reinforce the door, right? I'm going to hammer nails into it with a stud I'm going to break one of the benches or pews. And I'm going to turn that into wood that we can hammer into the door with nails because Artificer, you have nails, right? Of course I have nails. Right? Of course I've got so many, right? And you're combining different parts of what the characters are using, right? And in essence, you can still shoot the monk with this idea, right? The barbarian is super strong. They can still hold the rope or something that's going through a pulley and holding the party at a certain level where they can figure out a puzzle. Right. While they're getting shot with arrows. The barbarian could still rage. He's taking arrows, but he's holding onto the rope, and he can continue to hold the rage because he's getting pelted with these little arrows. Okay, awesome. You're letting the characters do what they do in combat and succeed where they succeed. It's about solving the puzzle.
Right.
It's not about killing the archers or the arrow traps or
because you can't kill the undead, all the undead, because they just keep coming.
Or it's an arrow trap. It just keeps shooting arrows at you. There's nothing to kill.
Right.
right? Or maybe we could throw water at it, shape water ice over the hole so it doesn't shoot it. Whatever it is, come up with these creative solutions. So yeah, objects, time, story markers are also an interesting thing to have in combat. The king is under pressure. You must get him this scepter in time before coronation. Okay. Right? We need to satisfy this story beat. Whether that story beat is a quest in of itself, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's a personal story. Oh, we have to go this way to get the scepter for the king. Oh, yeah, but grandma's cottage is over here. I used to live in this town. We should stop and talk and find out the local information. And the rumors, maybe we can figure out something to help us get ahead. Well, yeah, or that could just be wasted time and we need to go. What do we do? Split the party. No.
Always split the party.
Always split the party. Once again, story beats, betrayals, right? NPC, here's the scepter for the king. Hold on to this and guard it with your life because we need to focus on protecting you and getting you through this mob or whatever that does not want to see the king coronated.
Right.
Or the coronation of the king. Okay. Wait, where'd they go? We were focused on the crowd so much that who was watching the NPC?
Right.
I was with them because he's an evil king. I won't let you do this.
He's oppressing the peasants.
I'm so sorry. I'm not doing this to you. Right? I'm another good person who believes that you're on the wrong side of this.
Right.
Please don't hate me. I have to do this.
Please don't hate me. I have to kill you now.
Yeah, but you can then engage the morality of the party, right? Wait, why do you think they're evil? No, don't run away. We gotta hold back the crowd and we gotta chase this guy and there's so many things going on. But what do we do? Right? The objective in that case, right? The scepter is running away from you at this point. What do we do? Do we continue to caltrops are always the answer. But what do we do? Right? Our objective, the thing that we're looking for is going in the opposite direction. But maybe our objective isn't our objective. Maybe we need to understand more of what's happening here, right? I think another great example of an objective-based encounter was the Unsleeping City by Dimension 20 when they're fighting in the subway station.
Yep.
And the Grand Wizard of New York or whatever, a section of New York, whatever it was, is channeling a spell to bring a way for the party to escape. And the party is under attack by shadow minions or whatever. And the PCs can donate spell levels to give the wizard additional chances to complete his ritual. Right? So now it's not about having spells so that you can counter the spell and fireball next turn. Right. It's about finding success as quickly as possible and getting the heck out of there. Right? Because you can't win this combat. It's a never-ending combat, or there's one big monster that's just going to put you all down eventually, given enough time. So no, we need to satisfy the objective before we go down.
Right.
PvP is another interesting idea.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either, but it is one of the things that you can do in a moral sense.
Yeah.
In a language sense. You
it
can
is
have
an
a
option.
conversation.
Yeah.
Because PvP doesn't necessarily mean a fight to the death. Right? You can have a duel. Right? Both players go into it agreeing that there will be no kill shots. Right? The players have agreed to this. The PCs are now bound.
Speaking of betrayal.
Perfect clown. There's a moment there where there is the trust then. No, the players made a deal. Right? If you cannot be trusted as a player, why are you at the table?
You should be able to trust everyone at that table.
Correct. So once the players go, yes, this is a duel. Nobody's going for the cheap kill shot. Nobody wants that. We are settling a matter of honor between us. Or we're settling a difference that we've been having, and we just need to punch each other so that we can go have a beer.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, right? PvP is a way of going beyond the conflict to solving story and lore issues.
Right.
I did mention before gladiator and arena stuff. Maybe this combat is a trial of skill. Maybe this is where you're using your skill checks to overcome obstacles like a gauntlet or an obstacle course or whatever, right? yeah, the barbarian could just run through all the arrow traps with rage on and just soak all the damage. Sure. But the acrobatic rogue or bard or fighter or whatever, wizard, whatever it is, can also just juke their way through.
Right.
Right? Maybe they blink and they go into the ethereal realm and then they walk through the whole gauntlet in the ethereal realm and they reappear and they're like, haha, I beat your little thing. Shazam. Right? So these sorts of things are all really important ways that we can increase what we're doing in the combat and go beyond just the hit point race to 0.
Right.
Right? And make it not about
That's
fighting, but making it about something more. And that more is, drumroll, RP. That more is exploration. That more is lore, world building.
I always have thought that combat should never be for the sake of combat anyways.
Mm-hmm.
It should be for some goal.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It's one of my problems with random encounters.
Right.
Right. Is just like, oh, so we're just fighting them because we happen to meet?
I mean, random encounters are more useful when you have XP based leveling as opposed to the more, I think, more popular.
I don't know. I think for RPers, milestone is more.
Milestone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for murder hobos,
I can see how random encounters are great.
Yeah.
Right?
It would just.
Then you kill everything. That's why you become.
That's why you become a murder hobo, because you are rewarded.
Yes.
For killing. And that's where you, as the DM in session 0, go, guys, it's defeat or kill.
Yeah.
Defeat or, right?
Yeah.
And that's also, Brendan Lee Mulligan, once again, I've seen him argue the point many times, right? Like, what's first year wizarding college look like? Oh, well, we don't go and study books in the library.
We just
we go down to the local, goblin den and we nuke it. We nuke it enough so that they can regrow. And the next, next week we can come back and nuke them again. That's all we do is we go around killing stuff because that's what's going to make you a powerful wizard. Not
same thing for the thieves. Same thing.
Yep.
Like, everyone would do that.
Yes.
Everyone would do
that. If
they
understood the rules of the world, but yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think I've read a book where that happened. Anyways.
Oh. But it's rough. And that's why I conceptually appreciate Milestone more.
Absolutely. Me too.
Than that, because it does not reward you for being a wanton death machine.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Just for our play style, I think it works.
Yes, but we're both more RP inclined.
Yeah.
I have no problem throwing down mechanics, combat, hardcore, crunchy. No problem with doing that. And I do that all the time anyway, especially as a player. But I enjoy the satisfaction of making people cry way more.
Cry some more. And hopefully, you guys out there are crying with how great this talk is.
How happy you are that you stayed for this whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the gong is happy.
Sounding off in his happy time.
Yeah.
Yep.
What we talked about. Unfortunately, that means I have to go back and face the wrath of the wife. Maybe she's cooled down. Maybe she's fine now.
Yeah.
Maybe she was like, I'm glad you disappeared in the middle of a fight.
Right?
Maybe.
Yeah. But if not, at least this time I was Sean.
And I'm Byron.
And we thank you for being with us, Caffeine Cantrips. We will hopefully see you over at our Patreon. Check us out on Spotify or everywhere else that you get your podcasts. And after that's all done and you liked and followed and liked some more, I guess we'll probably just see you next time.
Or else. Blackmail works real well.
You gonna blackmail me because I didn't know, or else? Boom goes the dynamite. You know what I noticed? What? I like leaning forward.